Hello, and welcome to part 5 of my personal budgeting series, How to Create and Use a Forecast. As I just mentioned, we're currently at part 5 of my 7-part series. Parts 1 through 5 relate to budgeting, which is basically short-term planning. We're only looking at the current calendar year or 12-month planning horizon. When we move to part 6 and 7, our planning horizon and our focus is going to shift to a much longer term, and it's going to be much more strategic in nature. We'll start with the year that you retire and go all the way through to the end of your life plan. And we're going to look at a different tool. We're going to use Fidelity's Retirement Income Planner. And I think you'll find that these two sections, if retirement's in your on your radar screen, I think you'll find these to be very, very valuable. And so I hope you stay tuned and join me for the next 2 parts that wrap up the personal budgeting series. Okay, so back to forecasting. What is a forecast? Well, quite simply, it's an extension of your budget. It presents a more accurate projection of your year-end results. And it does that by adding your year-to-date actuals, income and expenses, to your remaining budget amounts. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So here's our standard budget template. We're on the Income versus Expenses tab. And I've added in blue this section called Forecast. And as you'll see, it's really quite simple. But I hope you also see that it's a very valuable and powerful tool. So I've teed this up or set this up with actual income for the first 3 months of the year and actual expenses. And that's what's reflected down here in these cells. Now to create your forecast, it's really quite simple. You just copy your remaining budget, income and expenses, and in this case it's April through December. So you copy and you're going to pay special because you don't want the formulas, you just want the values. And there you go. You've now got your year-end projection or forecast, which is going to be different than your budget because you've replaced your budget estimates with your actuals. So you're going to be able to see much more with a higher degree of confidence what your year-end looks like. And that's, why is that important? Well, what you want to see is, in this example, we're looking at expenses that are trending higher than the budget. So you're going to say, gee, I need to get my actuals, my future spending back in line with my budget, because your budget is your yardstick. Your budget is your goal. And by having a forecast, it'll give you some insight that you need to make some changes for the remaining months of the year so you can bring your expenses back in line with your budget. And that's very simple, very elegant, but very powerful. And that's really what gets in, that really helps you to manage your budget, in addition to all the other tools I showed you before about variance analysis, for example. But the forecast is that view that really presents that reality check and hopefully gives you the information and the motivation to go ahead and take the corrective action to try to manage your actuals to your budget. And that's the power and the beauty of forecasting at the same time. And as I just pointed out, here are those are the reasons why you really should consider forecasting. And one other thing is, if things get really out of whack, you may just decide that you need to revise your budget, say at the mid-year point, and just redo your budget because for whatever reasons, your actuals are just not anywhere near your budget. And your forecast shows that you're going to be way out of whack and those targets are no longer realistic or achievable. So your budget might give you some clue that, your forecast may give you some clue that you might want to do a budget revision. And that's all part of the learning process. As you go on and with your budgeting, it helps you learn how to become a better planner. And lastly, the takeaways are really simple, really basic. We've already covered them. The forecast provides the most accurate look at your future year-end results because it incorporates your year-to-date actuals, and it provides information to guide your budget decisions. And that's regardless of whether you're a DIY, do-it-yourself budgeteer, or you have some type of a budget person, an accountant, or a financial planner, professional that does your budget for you. I'm really assuming that you have a budget, and if you do, that understanding the power of forecasting, the value of forecasting, is really important because I think it should be part of your budget management. So that wraps up part 5, and I hope you enjoyed and learned a little bit about the power of forecasting. And as I mentioned, please stay tuned for part 6 and 7, where we're going to shift gears and take a look at long-term strategic planning. And I hope you'll find that to be valuable as I did as I was preparing to retire myself. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it, and take it easy. We'll see you for part 6.